This is the best of Chad Benson.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Yesterday we were, I read a bunch of articles. One of them was a study that 70% of people worry about climate change. So on our local show, we did an impromptu thing where we had some people call in, didn't tell them what we were going to ask them. And we asked all of them, do you worry about climate change? So the number one thing that worries you, keeps you up at night. Shocker. The economy, inflation. I know it's crazy, right? That was the shocker. Well, what do you mean? Of course, that's what keeps you up at night. When people say they worry about stuff, what do you really worry about? Like climate change. If you ask people, hey, you worry about climate change? Yeah, we need to take better care of it. But unless you were thinking, you were at a climate change meeting, you probably weren't thinking about it. But I'll tell you what you are thinking about. The rising cost of stuff. How are you going to pay for that? Am I going to even be able to get a turkey for holidays? What am I going to do if I can't get the present my kid wants this year? They've been really good. Santa Claus can only do so much. They, too, are having supply chains issues. That's what people are working at and worrying about. Touting stuff is great. Yesterday, Biden was out at the Baltimore Harbor talking about, stuff. And what have I been telling everybody? You got to act like you're there and you care. You got to act like you're participating. You got to act like it's something that you're in and participating with. And he gave his usual thing. Look, you got a $1.2 trillion package through that I think is good. Could it have been better? Yes, everybody will always say something could have been better. This could have been better. That could have been better. But the reality is I'm still not hearing him really address the issues. People don't want to hear you talk about all the great things that are going on while they know they're suffering and they're struggling. People want to hear you finally address things. And yesterday you had a chance, and at times it was just a quick one line right by something.
Today's economic report showing unemployment continued to fall, but consumer prices remain too high.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. That's it. I mean, that's how you're doing. You're like going by it really fast. That's the lead story.
We still face challenges, and we have to tackle them. We have to tackle them head on. And on the good side, we're seeing the highest growth rate in decades, the fastest decrease in unemployment at this point ever since 1950. Jobs are up, wages are up, values are up, and savings are up. But we got problems too.
People don't want to hear you spend 30 seconds on, we got problems too. And then that's 1 second. And then you go on and on and on. And again, I don't want all the negative. But I think what you have to do is you're going to have to separate them if you're him. One of the things that people have been talking about that the Democrats, and I think, quite frankly, not just the Democrats, the Republicans are guilty of it too, depends on the time. When you're in the lead, meaning you've got the House, you've got the Senate, you've got the presidency, you're all of those things. You're the one who everybody sits back nowadays. Rather than try to outdo them, they're like, you know what, eventually they're going to trip themselves up. It's like a horror movie. Once they take off, that guy's fallen. She's always fallen. Right? That guy's tripping on some sort of, hole or a stick somewhere. You always know that's going to happen. And that's kind of what politics has become now. Don't say a thing. They're screwing up themselves. Don't. Messaging is important. People are waiting for the message, waiting to hear what you're going to say, waiting to hear if you're going to actually come out and address the issue, waiting to hear if you're going to address it for real, or if you're just going to continue to go on and talk about all the great things that are going on as if nobody else is feeling it. Messaging is important. One of the big reasons they got their ass handed to them last week in several elections, and elections that they shouldn't, even when the ones they won, it was too close for comfort is because their messaging was bad. Their messaging was poor. Messaging is everything. And they're not giving it, and they're not delivering it. I go over and over again. Just come out, talk about inflation. We got it wrong. We thought inflation would be gone. Supply chain's been an issue. OPEC, they're dealing us dirty here. Understand that. We can do a few things. Let me tell you what we're doing to work towards it, not to ignore it. There's only so much I can do, and you should never wait for government to fix your issues. But at the same time, these are some of these issues government's going to have to get involved with. Absolutely. But no, you don't, and you won't. Messaging. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Remember this. When you hear stuff like this,
American people in the midst of this economic crisis, the recovery is showing strong results, but not to them. They're still looking out there. Everything from a gallon of gas to a loaf of bread costs more, and it's worrisome, even though wages are going up.
Yeah. Even though wages are going up, it's worrisome. It's worrisome. That's not what the people want you to hear. They want to hear, hey, we're on this. Hey, we're pushing back. Hey, we're making an attempt to do some stuff. Hey, we're looking at the actions we can take. It's worrisome. Maybe not. Maybe not as inspiring. I watched that thing yesterday, and I thought to myself, I don't know if people follow him out of a building. I don't know if he's the go-to guy in a situation where you're like, oh, there's some tragedy and some craziness going on here. Quick, over to that guy. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. It is Veterans Day. To all the veterans, to all the men, the women who served, past and present. God bless you. And you know, for me, my uncle who passed away several years ago, you know, he served in Vietnam, and it is, we see it all the time. You know, how our veterans are struggling with PTSD, with, you know, so many issues from suicide to you know, homelessness, drug addiction. And, you know, it's one of those days when, you know, we think about it on a day like today, the sacrifices that people made. But all too often, you know, the minute this day's gone, like everything, we have an attention span of a gnat, and we're all wrapped up in a world. I'm as guilty as anybody. But to all the veterans, to all the men and women who served out today, God bless you. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. All that being said, for all the stuff that is going on at this moment in time, the Delta virus is still out there. You've got places like California. Oh, they're already starting to do what? Ooh, you know, Gavin Newsom's out there starting to pitch the dream about, you guys got to watch out because here it comes back again.
Last year, we had a challenging winter, particularly down here in Southern California. We started to see around this time last year case rates, positivity rates, hospitalization rates, ICU numbers start to increase.
Oh, so guys, double, triple mask now. Double, triple mask. Double, triple, quadruple mask.
Around this time last
year. And he kept saying something else, too. Winter's coming. And apparently, the way he said it was kind of very much like the TV show, was it Game of Thrones? With the dark night, or the dark whatever it was, and the zombie things that were coming, and that's the way that they kind of pushed at it. The winter's returning.
Last year, we had a challenging winter.
Yeah. And you challenged yourself. Now you got all this chaos and craziness that is going on in California. But one of the things that people were talking about, and this is something that's very interesting, he didn't go to the CO 26 or whatever it is, the climate change thing. And if you guys know anything about Gavin Newsom, wants to be president, he lives for this stuff. And people are saying inside of his circle, because he disappeared for like 10 days. Like, this guy lives for this. That's like, do you remember when Simone Biles, she just didn't compete? People were like, oh my God, what was going on? Same kind of thing with this. And people are saying that he got the booster shot and it kicked his ass, made him very sick. He would never say that, but when you see him, you're like, He doesn't look right. He doesn't. He doesn't look right. But I just want everybody to understand this is what's coming. A majority of people have either had this or have got a shot. Young kids are getting the shot somewhat. But all that being said, know that there'll be some bumps in places and be prepared for the, everybody triple, quadruple mask. I just have a sense it's coming again. People love power and wielding that power. But I think what they're finding is, and this is something I think is frustrating people, is they're finding that people aren't getting the booster shots. Because I think people are like, I'm not quite sure I'm believing everything you guys are saying. I'm not quite sure that I'm buying what you're selling. And it's odd that every channel I turn on to, especially when it comes to the news, is sponsored by Pfizer or somebody like that. Just throwing it out there. So be prepared. The push is on. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Twitter, tweet, text the program. My Pillow is awesome. Right now they got the Giza Dream Sheets, 2 for $1, buy one, get one free. Long staple cotton, grown right there in the Mediterranean. It is the best sheets you're ever going to own. So the BOGO, buy one, get one free. You buy a set of sheets, you get another set for free. Machine washable. They are incredible in the field when you slide into them. Never too hot, never too cold. Perfect is what you're looking for. Best sheet you're ever going to own. From king all the way down, different colors, sizes, the whole 9 yards, 60-day money-back guarantee, 1-year limited warranty. Deep discounts across all of the MyPillow products. The MyPillow, the mattress topper, which is my favorite thing, the My Slippers, which are incredible, the towels and everything in between. Yeah, they even got dog beds as well. Go to MyPillow.com. Make sure you use that promo code Benson to save big and grab these buy one, get one free MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. You will love, love, love these. Perfect holiday gift. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
You're listening to the best of Chad Benson.
Running with scissors sounds great compared to this.
Say what? Say what? Yesterday, Kamala Harris went over to hang out with the French. She saw Macron. It's funny because they show these pictures from all the leaders that Macron has met in the past, and he's given pretty much everybody kisses. It's the French thing, right? Like my neighbors when I was in England were French and Italian, and they were the most amazing people. But, they would all come up and give you hugs and kisses, and maybe it's COVID or not, but just shook her hand, Kamala. But listen to this. She's got stuff going on here. I mean, I don't know. If you're the Democrats, what did I just talk about? Messaging. If you're the Democrats, you're like, okay, no more off script.
We campaign with the plan. Uppercase T, uppercase P, the plan. And then the environment is such that we're expected to defend the plan. Even when the first time we roll it out, there may be some glitches and it's time to reevaluate and then do it again. The plan. The plan.
What the hell are you talking about? Are you trying to be French? Because you sound like Tattoo from Fantasy Island. The plane, the plane. I get it, dude. We see the plane. All right? We see it. It's right there. We see it. Here it comes. We get it. We campaign with the plan.
The plan. The plan.
The plane. The plane. One of the first stars I ever met. Hervé Villachez. Did you guys rack that? Did you put that over there? Everybody remembers the first, star they've ever met. My first star was Isaac from the, I think pretty much only ever met ABC stars back in the day, from Love Boat. That was my first star I ever met. I was at a soccer camp at Long Beach State, and I don't know what he was doing. Maybe he was teaching theater or something, but he was there for whatever reason. And we went into the cafeteria to all eat because, it was like we'd start at like 8 in the morning, go to like 4, and then we'd have our lunch. And he was in there and everybody was around him. And it's like, oh, my God, it was great. It was great. I was like, oh, this is awesome. The plane. How bad is, look, if you're the Democrats, messaging is one thing, but you've got a problem. Not only is your president, my president, though you people over there, you people in left, right, center, everybody, your president struggling. But if you're the Democrats, you're stuck between a rock and a hard place because you're not quite sure if Biden can go the distance. And I'm not just talking about these 4 years, but if he says he wants to run for another 4 years, and are you going to run away from Harris, a woman of color? I don't think you would. But I think people are going, this is a nightmare. Even Jimmy Kimmel's taking notice.
Kamala Harris has an approval rating of 28%, which makes no sense because she basically has nothing to do. I mean, it's like criticizing a backup quarterback. Tom Brady's okay. I don't love the way Blaine Gabbert has his legs folded on the bench. I have to be honest. Kamala's approval rating is even lower than the 30% who approved of Dick Cheney in 2008 after he shot a guy in the face. I think I know why Kamala's ratings are low, besides sexism and racism. It's because whenever she's next to Joe, standing near him, behind him, she looks like an assassin. She looks like, right? Especially with a mask.
Yeah, got to throw the sexism and racism. That's everybody's go-to. Do you think it's because they don't like a woman? It's got to be. Do you think maybe it's because they don't like it? She's a woman of color. Well, that's a double whammy. What about maybe she's just not very good? Or even she may be great at other stuff, but she's not very likable in front of the camera. Could it be that? Nope, can't be. If you don't like her, the only thing they could just put in, it's got to be racism. That's the go-to. Right? That's the go-to playbook for everything when you criticize something, in particular on the left, right? Is they're like, it's racism, it's sexism, it's homophobia. It can't just be, you know what? It's not very good. She's not very good. Chad Benson Show.
You're listening to the best of Chad Benson.
Chad Benson Show.
This is the best of Chad Benson.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Life's getting more expensive. I think we already know that. Black Friday not too far away. So what are we looking at Black Friday? We are looking at 2 weeks from today would be Black Friday. 2 weeks from today. 2 weeks from today, people will be getting up at the wee hours of the morning. In theory, there's stuff to get. Prices, though, going to look a little different if you can find things.
One of the most popular items on Black Friday, TVs. You would have spent about $500 for a TV. This year, that same TV will cost you $550 with inflation. Prices up 10.4%. Clothing prices up 4.3%. Jewelry prices up 7.5%. One area where prices have come down, toys down about 0.5%, as long as you don't get in on the frenzy and buy it on the resale market way jacked up.
Yeah, which is a possibility because the thing is, all of those things are subject to change when it comes to availability. There's 2 times a year we buy TVs. Obviously, Black Friday and then Super Bowl weekend. We buy the hell out of TVs. You know, the Super Bowl, it looks good on my 72-inch, but I need a 45,000-inch. And it's now at Walmart for $1.99. That's when people get excited. So everything's subject to change based on availability, right? That's life. Life is subject to change. But with the continual rise of prices, people are going to be really, really, really frustrated, not just because of stuff that you would think is made here should be easily available. It's going to be going up because of the cost of getting it to and fro, but also the availability. So I've started my Christmas shopping. And a couple of things I thought, oh, this shouldn't be a problem. They're like, can deliver between January 6th and like January 18th. And you're like, what? Because we think just because the trucks, are there and the ships are coming in a little bit faster, that's catching everything up. You got to go on the other side of the world to see how far behind they are. And that the rest of the world's dealing with this. Now you're starting to see flare-ups of, yes, the coronavirus and the surge that's out there. What is that going to look like? Because I know one thing. Last year, we locked it down, weren't quite sure, but we decided, look, it's Thanksgiving, we're doing this. It's Thanksgiving, we're doing this. This year, is anybody really stopping? This year, is anybody really saying, I'm not going somewhere unless you don't like your family? I don't know. I don't think so. So between travel, between a lot of different things, I'm telling you guys, this is going to be expensive Christmas, and it's going to be more expensive with the chances of getting less. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Coronavirus numbers are moving up. California and Colorado, who are both seeing rises.
Officials in Colorado and California are now encouraging every adult to get a COVID booster, though U.S. health officials haven't given it the okay. Many are still resisting the shots altogether. More than 107 million Americans remain unvaccinated.
107 million Americans remain unvaccinated. Let's just remember this. Some of them, I have a 3-year-old. She's not eligible. She's already had it, by the way. So she's not eligible. So take those numbers. I was like, there's 100 and X amount of people that can't, but 50% of them can't get it. So that doesn't count. You're using numbers in ways. It's like when people go out and they do polls about voting and they ask a bunch of people. Now, is this just random sample, or are you asking likely voters, people that will be participating, not people who will answer a question but are not going to participate in it? Those people don't matter. That shouldn't count. But that's the way they break it out, to make it seem like, oh, my God. Now you've got the 5 to 11-year-olds. I think they thought there'd be a bigger run. Only 900,000 kids so far have been vaccinated. Some people ran out immediately. Immediately. Like, boom, let's go. We got to get out there right this second. But what did I tell you guys? When it's you or I, we're adults, right? You and I, we're adults. We're making choices for ourselves. You got a 13-year-old, 14, 15-year-old. You know what? You have a conversation with them. If they feel like they want to get it, okay. You're a little bit maybe easier in a situation where you're like, I'm okay with you getting this. All right? It's a lower dose. But when you start talking 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds, 8-year-olds, what do you start seeing? People take a step back. Say, I don't know about that. People take a step back. People take a step back and say, no. I want to give it a little while. Let's see what it looks like. I'm not quite sure that I want to give my child that. I'm not quite sure that I want to give my child that just yet. Not saying I won't, but I'm just saying at this moment in time, maybe not. And I think you're going to see that more and more, which is going to be the battle. And then, of course, you've got the battle still going on with masking. Case in point, this youngster here, who, by the way, her name is Fiona Lascelles, 2nd grader, 8 years old. She's been suspended for a while. 36 days. She's not having the mask.
My name is Fiona Lachuz, and I am in second grade at Discovery Kale Elementary. For anyone who thinks I didn't write my speech last time is wrong. Sorry if I'm scared when I see people yelling at these meetings. Tomorrow is my birthday. I am going to get suspended if I don't wear a mask for 3 more days. Just because I get suspended for not wearing a mask isn't going to change my mind.
So she's already been suspended. She's not changing her mind at all, period, case closed.
You can keep suspending me. I still have the right not to wear a mask. It is not fair that I'm getting punished because you guys, the school board, are not following the law. That is not fair. It just isn't right. I'm still going to stand up for what I believe in, and nothing's going to change my mind.
She's not doing it, period. Case closed, end of story. How much of that is her mom? And that's what I always say. How much is this your mom and dad? Do you really feel this way? Do you really feel this way? In saying that, I find the masking of children completely asinine and stupid. But what are you going to do?
I've been getting suspended a lot because I'm wearing a mask. Do you know how dirty masks are? Because you touch the mask, you put it on your face, you breathe all those germs in because you have lots of bacteria on your hand. I hope you all go to jail for doing this to me.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. But the weird thing is there is insanity out there. Case in point, a guy used to be cool, right? This guy used to be cool. Like when you would think, man, who was cool, man? Kiss. Those guys were cool, right? Rockin' party and women, all of these things. Gene Simmons, get off my lawn.
I don't care about your political beliefs. You are not allowed to infect anybody just because you think you've got rights that are delusional, of course. You don't have the right to go through a red light. Actually, the government has the right to tell you to stop. You have to put on a seatbelt. If they tell you can't smoke in a building, you can't smoke in a building. And that's not because they want to take away your rights. It's because the rest of us hate it. We don't want to smell your smoke. I don't want to catch your disease. I don't want to risk my life just because you want to go through a red light.
So there's the argument he's making. So, the rights. I mean, come on. And this is the silliness. Like, you're going to buy into all of this crap? Of course. People will. We heard it with Stern. And I'd kick Aaron Rodgers out of the NFL for the rest of forever.
This whole idea, this delusional, evil idea that you get to do whatever you want and the rest of the world be damned is really terrible. We got to identify those people and bring them out into the open so you know who they are. Know who your friends are by how much they care about you. That includes COVID. If you're willing to walk among us unvaccinated, you are an enemy.
An enemy. That right there says everything I need to know. You are an enemy. What a douche canoe. I'm sorry. People ask me all the time, after this Aaron Rodgers thing. By the way, in the last 2-3 weeks, you had the Aaron Rodgers, you had the Henry Ruggs issue, right? If you guys don't know who he is, crashed, double the limit with alcohol, 156 miles an hour, killed a woman and her dog, wounded his girlfriend. You've got Deshaun Watson, 21, 22 outstanding investigations and or civil lawsuits against him and women who gave him massages. And Aaron Rodgers is the one that people are blasting. That is the insanity of which we live. That right there is the insanity of which we live in. Crazy, right? Now you're an enemy if you don't want to mask up. Well, why don't you mask up forever? What about the flu? Do you care much about the flu? And we've already got 1, now potentially 2, maybe 3 by the end of the year will be approved as far as treatment goes. So are people still the enemy? When you say that, you just sit back and you go, this is insane. You're buying into this crap to the point where you're not willing to live around it, above it. You're going to allow it to dictate you it's going to live around you and above you. Man, the enemy. And people last week, because I defended Rodgers. People like him get away with stuff. Get over it. Yeah, but he could have. Who? By the way, the only person that's been affected in the NFL to the point where they've been hospitalized was somebody who was vaccinated. So, the only person. He could have hurt people around him. They knew. Trust me. And if you know somebody's not, there are 2 people in our office we know are not vaccinated. You know what people don't do? If you're worried about it, you don't hang around them. It's that simple. There you go. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Rough Greens makes any pet food better. I give it to my dogs every single night. Got home last night, gave it to them. They ate it up. It's great. I've started my puppies out the right way and seen the results with my older dog with the Canine VitaSmart, the supplement that goes on top of the dog's food with the vitamins, minerals, vegetables, probiotics, Omega 369. Just seeing that, understanding completely how amazing it has been for him and his hips, his joint pain, his digestive tract, his fur. It's awesome. Right now, your chance to get a free bag, free 99, which is $0 to you. You just cover the cost of shipping. They're not going to ask you for anything more. Is real. Go to roughgreens.com/Chad. RUFFgreens.com/Chad. Give your dog the amazing gift of getting healthy and happy with more energy. Give them Rough Greens. RUFFgreens.com/Chad. Or call 833-MY-DOG-77. Rough Greens makes any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
You're listening to the best of Chad Benson.
Set Chad straight. Text the show, 323-538-2423. That's 323-538-CHAD. Someone has to do it. Might as well be you. The Chad Benson Show.
That is us, kids and kittens. So, teachers. Let's hear about it. We don't pay them enough. We don't pay them enough. We don't pay them enough. Never hear a teacher go, I'm paid all right. I'm paid okay. And the places where they are paid, well, it doesn't matter what you pay them, because when the cost of living gets to the point where, you're spending, God knows how much for rent or a mortgage if you try to buy a house in places like Southern California, New York, Northern California, where the average house is going for $1 million plus bucks. My best friend and I were joking the other day. Kenny's like, dude, my mom and dad sold their house. I'm like, really? It was a nice house. It was good. It's 10 minutes from the beach, but, good neighborhood right across the street from Cal State Long Beach. So what'd they get for it? He's like, $1.2 million. I'm like, oh my God. I just asked my mom, I said, Mom, what are the comps around your neighborhood? Because she's thinking about in the next year or two, just getting out of California. And she says, Chad, she goes, honestly, I could easily get $1 million for this house. And I go, no way. Because when you're a kid, you're like, oh my God, $1 million for a house. Not so much anymore. Now it's different. This is a teacher, though, Kyle Cohen. And I bring this up because in certain places it's super expensive. But yes, we do need to pay teachers in places a much better salary. I think we can all agree with that. The problem isn't paying the teachers. The frustration that most people have in a lot of ways is the unions and a lot of the insanity that's going on. People feel like they're indoctrinated. But also today is a perfect example where schools are closing down in several places across the country. Michigan, 8 schools shut down or returned to online learning because of no shortages. Brevard Public Schools in Florida, it's going to extend its Thanksgiving break. Seattle saw several schools say they weren't going to be open today because they were short-staffed because of COVID exposure. Parents last year got really, really frustrated. And I said, parents vote. This is a teacher's upset about salary.
fact, us teachers, we do only work 8 to 9 months of the year. It is ridiculous. So I'm a 4th grade teacher. My first year of teaching, I earned $31,000 as a 4th grade teacher. I work from about 7 to 5, multiply that by 5, that is 50 hours, multiply that by 4, 200 hours that I work a month. I also am going to add 10 additional hours. I have a lot of meetings and events and things like that as a 4th grade teacher that I'm required to attend. The lesson planning and grading and communication with coworkers and families and administration. So it's roughly 240 hours a month.
So 240 a month is what he's saying. I'm buying all that, but yeah, okay, I'll give you that. 240 a month. Look, I'm the wrong guy to bitch about when it comes to hours. People around work will start bitching. Never mind. I'm sorry, Chad, I didn't see you there.
Let's say 240 hours times the 9 months that I'm working, right? So only 9 months. That's 2,160 hours of work. If I take that $31,000 salary that I earned in my first year of teaching, $31,000 divided by 2,160, that is $14 an hour to be a 4th grade classroom teacher. That's $14 an hour before taxes are taken out.
So you earn $31,000 over a 9-month period, which is $3,400 a month for 9 months. Frustrated. I get it. You work a lot. Understandable. Here's my thing. You say you love to do it. That's great. You kind of knew the salary going into it. Was I right? Or was I right? I'm just curious. I feel like I'm right on that. Teachers, it's tough right now. I get it. But right now, with parents frustrated, be aware. Chad Benson Show.
You're listening to the best of Chad Benson.
This is the Chad Benson Show.
This is the best of Chad Benson.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The Democrats got something done. They did. With the help of Republicans. What? Yeah, they did. They finally got an infrastructure bill done. Now, remember, there were 2 bills out there, right? So one of them is a bill about spending a lot of dollars. The other one is a bill where I don't know if they spent enough dollars, and that's the one that got done.
$110 billion on highways, roads, and bridges. $66 billion in passenger rail, the largest investment in Amtrak since it was actually started. $65 billion for the nation's power grid. $55 billion in water and wastewater infrastructure. $39 billion for public transit. $65 billion to expand broadband internet.
Yeah. Chad, what do you mean you don't know if they spent enough? That's a lot. Hey, my grandma was one of these people. She didn't buy stuff like you wanted something. She was going to buy you something. She had all the money in the world, my grandfather and them. But when they bought you something, it was real, right? They weren't going to buy you a $20 watch. They were going to buy you a real watch. They weren't going to. That's. I look at this and I think that's what this should have been. I'm okay with putting more money in to actually do stuff that needs to get done. My big issue, like everything else, should be the transparency and how are you going to spend it. And that's the scary part because, as we all know, government loves to spend money. And because it's not their money and there's zero accountability, like if you held everybody accountable with where the money went, what would happen? You'd watch the waste slowly but surely disappear, right? The waste itself would disappear rather than the money itself. Some people are excited about this. I'm excited because I think we need, who is not for, our roads suck. Let's just throw it out there. Our roads are awful. I drive an interstate every day getting in here, right? You could take it from all the way up in Seattle, all the way through the 10. And it's nasty. They're always seeming to kind of work on it, but it never, ever feels like it's going anywhere. There's no expansion to it. My internet where I live is spotty. Now we get the internet, it's okay, but it's not great. Over the weekend, we had some issues with it. So I'm okay with spending money if it's spent correctly. It's not the spending, it's the overspending and no accountability that people should be worried about. if you're spending for the right reasons to update and modernize our roads, our bridges, our airports, our power grids, things of that nature, that sounds like a win to me. The other side of it is the fact that, well, you've got other people that are not thrilled. They did not vote on this. It took 13 Republicans who jumped over to the Democrat side.
The Senate is split 50-50, and the House Speaker Nancy Pelosi can only afford to lose 3 Democratic votes. Well, it turns out it actually wasn't those 3 Democrats that helped her get this over the finish line. It was 13 Republicans. You had a handful of Democrats that actually voted against this bill, but those 13 Republicans were what allowed it to get passed.
Yeah. Who were them? Don Bacon of Nebraska. Cool name. He goes, look, I face a damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of choice. You vote one way, may hurt in the primary. You vote another way, may hurt my district. It hurt me in general. He said he felt pressure from his GOP colleagues on the floor to vote against the bill, but maintained that his constituents supported legislation overall. Brian Fitzpatrick, Pennsylvania, right? Which includes all of Bucks County and portions of Montgomery County. He said why he supported the bill. He claimed the bill's passage is a victory for not only the people of Pennsylvania, for the entire country. David McKinley of West Virginia, Andrew Garbarino in New York, John Katko of New York. Seeing what you get here? Nicole Malatakis of New York, Tom Reed of New York. But you got Kinzinger, who you knew would support it. Plus, he's going out, so he doesn't have to worry about anything. He's doing what he thinks is best. Anthony Gonzalez of Ohio. He was one of the people who also voted to impeach Trump. Jeff Van Drew and Chris Smith of New Jersey, Fred Upton of Michigan, Don Young of Alaska. A lot of it is about what? Bringing jobs. Some of it is you look over and you say to yourself, my people I know are for this. I'm going to get large swaths of money to come back to my state as well that I was probably promised to get some stuff done. So that's it. But then there's the other infrastructure bill, the reconciliation human infrastructure bill, which is the other one that the 6 Democrats weren't going to vote, the squad-like people who didn't want any part of this unless they got their infrastructure bill, the human one.
6 progressive Democrats voted against the bill, disappointed it wasn't tied to a $1.75 trillion plan to fund things like universal preschool, child care, home health care for the elderly, and efforts to combat climate change. White House Chief of Staff Ron Klain telling NBC he believes the House will eventually pass that social spending bill.
We are going to get a very strong version of this bill through the House, through the Senate, to the president's desk, and into law.
And that's the thing that they're pushing. And they were like, we're not voting for this unless we get this. Well, you had 13 Republicans jump sides, so they didn't really care. So you didn't get what you wanted. They were frustrated, I'm sure. But if you're the Democrats across the board, and you're looking and you think we got the House, we got the Senate, and we've got the presidency. We have a rising cost of living going on. We have a job situation that seems rather bizarre at times, that we're bringing in jobs, making jobs. People are going back to what we're doing before, but the economy still feels like it's going nowhere. You have stagflation, inflation, rising cost of everything, including heating your house, things of that's going to be coming sooner rather than later. You've got an issue at the border. The nightmare that was Afghanistan is still hanging out there. You've got a battle of schools, and across the board, you saw moderates on the Democratic side and Republicans kind of thump you. You had to get something done. You did, and they did. They got something done with the help of some Republicans, and when it comes to the Senate, that's not going to be a big deal either. Already 19 are on board with that, so he'll hold his, I think he said, on the 15th, which will be a week from today, whenever he gets back, he'll hold a big signing for that. So that's a win. That's one win. Still a lot out there. And people are still looking around going, it's expensive to live. It's expensive out there. It's expensive. The rising cost of everything is frustrating people. The rising cost of everything, from turkeys to gas to you name it. They're frustrated. They want to see what's going to happen. We shall see. People are going to start traveling today. $2 billion is what people from Mexico pour into the United States on a yearly average spending, just going back and forth across the border. It's over $1 billion for the snowbirds. Where I live, we're snowbird heavy. And I was just telling my buddy, Jim, who does the morning show here locally, I said, where I live last year, very quiet, because obviously COVID was going on. We weren't allowing people across the border and vice versa. And now, over the last couple weeks, things have started to definitely pick up. But it is a marked change from where we were last year. Today, across the board, you can travel here.
Many of today's inbound international flights are sold out. United alone expecting 30,000 inbound international passengers today. Delta seeing a 450% increase in bookings by international travelers since the new travel rules were announced in mid-October. And Hopper seeing searches for flights to the U.S. more than quadruple.
Yeah. And I was talking to a couple of my neighbors. They weren't here last year. One of which is not Canadian. They didn't want to travel. They're a little bit older. But the other ones were Canadian. And her husband is American, and they came down here and stuff. And this is going to be, a big year for a lot of places like that where you have snowbirds coming out. You have people traveling. All these things add up. They do. But when you start to factor in, even with that kind of help in certain places across the country, inflation the way it is, there's a lot that the Republicans are looking at and they're salivating over when it comes to, yeah, that's great that you can open up travel and it's great that all those things can happen. But the fact is, people are still struggling. People are still hurting. And while this may give a boom in certain areas, we're still going bust in others. And they're hyper-focused on winning back the House and the Senate. Today, they launch a small buy, about $100,000, on how they're going to do it and what they're going to do. And if you're the Democrats, I mean, all of this stuff, this isn't even hyperbole and insanity that you would normally see from both sides.
We will deliver bold progress for the people when we have President Joe Biden in the White House.
Significant surge of migrants crossing illegally into the U.S.
The crime situation out of control. Prices are going up.
Democrats can't protect us across the world. Democrats can't protect our street. And Democrats can't protect us at the border.
How did President Biden get this so wrong?
Because he will be an extraordinary president.
Lot of stuff. And you look at his poll numbers today. A lot can change. A year from now, inflation could be virtually gone. The market, as far as jobs go, could be rocking. We could see energy prices collapse. There's a lot of things that could be happening a year from now. But as of now, people are looking. And as always, we want a scapegoat. And the scapegoat is you. We want somebody to blame. It's you. It's you and your party. You got this done, but what else have you done? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Batya Ungar-Sargon is going to join us, bottom of the hour. An amazing book that she has written, and we're going to discuss about, really, journalism. Woke journalism, democracy. What journalism was before, what they actually set newspapers up for back in the day. It's a very interesting read. We're going to talk to her at the bottom of the hour. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Twitter, Raycon, best earbuds around. They start under $70. 45-day happiness guarantee. New rubber oil feel that's incredible. Same amazing, incredible fit that you're going to love. And they've got 3 new audio settings so you can control the sound better. Right, a little boost here if you want some more bass, stuff for just podcast, stuff for audiobooks, maybe relaxing music. They got more control. Just everything about them is incredible. And they start under $70. 45-day happiness guarantee. If you want the best earbuds around, a premium audio sound, this guy, Ray J, has set it up for you to hit a home run big time. No issues as the holidays approach as far as supply chain. You will love these. Get yours now. Save huge. And I'm serious, guys. When I talk about the best earbuds around, these things are amazing. BuyRaycon.com/Chad. Save big right there. BuyRaycon.com/Chad. If you want the best earbuds around, 45-day happiness guarantee. Sleek, cool, and awesome. BuyRaycon.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
You're listening to the best of Chad Benson.
Don't let the Washington Beltway strangle you. This is where the exhausted majority comes to refuel, realign, and reevaluate. This is Chad Benson.
See a lot of Aaron Rodgers versus Colin Kaepernick thing going on. It's just everybody's got to figure out a way to, when it comes to the NFL, let's bring it in. Let's make it about race. Let's make it about this. Aaron Rodgers lied. There's no doubt. I mean, did he lie? Technically. Has he been immunized? From stuff, I'm sure. Specifically from one thing that people were asking about back in August, which was COVID. Well, last Friday, he spoke to his buddy, who is Pat McAfee show. It's great. If you've never seen him, funny. He goes on Fridays, talks about it.
I realize I'm in the crosshairs of the woke mob right now, so before my final nail gets put in my cancel culture casket, I think I'd like to set the record straight. First of all, I didn't lie in the initial press conference. During that time, it was a witch hunt that was going on across the league where everybody in the media was so concerned about who was vaccinated and who wasn't and what that meant and who was being selfish and who would talk about it and what it meant if they said it's a personal decision. They shouldn't have to disclose their own medical information and whatnot. And at the time, my plan was to say that I've been immunized.
Yeah, and that's what you did. He talked about he's an independent thinker, not a flat earther. Terry Bradshaw, Hall of Famer, talked about it.
I'd give Aaron Rodgers some advice. It would have been nice if he'd have just come to the Naval Academy and learned how to be honest. Yeah. Learn not to lie, because that's what you did, Aaron. You lied to everyone. I understand immunized. What you were doing was taking stuff that would keep you from getting COVID-19. You got COVID-19. Ivermectin is a cattle dewormer. Sorry, folks, that's what it is.
No, actually, it's not. It's been used by several billion people worldwide for a very long time. What it is found in is stuff that you can use for cattle. Absolutely. Heartworm as well, several other things. So to say it was cattle worm only is ridiculous. Terry Bradshaw continues.
We are a divided nation politically. We're a divided nation on the COVID-19, whether or not to take the vaccine. And unfortunately, we've got players that pretty much think only about themselves. And I'm extremely disappointed in the actions of Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, if you want to say that, no problem with that. No problem with that. No problem with that. I got zero problem if you want to say that. The other stuff, people came for him. Again, they've turned this into to so many other things because that's what we do, because it's a great story. Do I think he let himself and his team down? Yeah. Here's the other thing. How many other players have already caught it that have been vaccinated? In fact, he probably caught it from a vaccinated person because Devontae Adams, who's his receiver, who is vaccinated, also had it, and they spent time together.
I put a lot of time and energy and research, met with a lot of different people in the medical field before making a decision. It was pretty easy in the beginning to eliminate two of them. It was simply the fact that I have an allergy to an ingredient that's in the mRNA vaccines. And then in mid-April, the J&J shot got pulled for clotting issues. So then my options became, okay, what can I do to protect myself and my teammates if there's not one of the big three options for me in my own body? And so I looked into and found that there was an immunization protocol that I could go to best protect myself.
Yeah, and they talked about once he got sick, he called Joe Rogan. He goes, now he's become my friend. Rogan gave him a whole bunch of stuff to try, and, ivermectin was part of it. But again, all of it prescribed and used by humans, not the people who run down to the tax store. It's crazy. Welcome to the world of insanity. Each and every day, something gets weirder. Speaking of weird, I don't know if you guys are aware of this. We've got a great author ahead of us talking about, the woke culture and democracy, especially in journalism. Straight ahead, Chad Benson Show.
You're listening to the best of Chad Benson.
The Chad Benson Show.
This is the best of Chad Benson.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The book, great. The interviews I've seen with her have been great. She is the deputy opinion editor at Newsweek, but she's got a book out. And I was just talking to her, like, how do you want me to introduce you? She gave me, hey, deputy, opinion editor and author of Bad News, How Woke Media is Undermining Democracy. Batya Ungar-Sargon has joined us. And let me tell you something. We've gotten through some of the book, and it's awesome. But I've seen a lot of your interviews, and you knock it out of the park. And I'm excited to have you on because, quite frankly, I think, I'm trying to do something here with radio, which is different, which is reach everybody and try to expand the tent of normalcy. And I think you're trying to do the same thing with this book.
Wow, thank you so much for saying that. That means so much to me because I can tell that you're actually reading it. I totally agree with you. I'm completely trying to be a unifier, not a divider, just like you are on your show. I think that's the most important thing for every American to commit to right now. Be a unifier, not a divider. So I'm so thrilled that you're picking that up from the book.
So what made you, you've obviously written for the Post and the Forward and of course now, you're over there doing your thing at Newsweek. What made you want to do this and this topic in particular?
So you're going to like this a lot. This was not actually the book that I wanted to write. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm very proud of it and I'm thrilled that it exists. But I was doing a lot of reporting in the South during the Trump era. And I was finding a lot of very surprising things for a lefty journalist from New York, specifically that Americans are much more united than our media is telling us and than our politicians want us to believe. And like on the most important issues, things like equality, things like the evils of racism, things like LGBTQ rights, Americans are just not divided on these issues anymore. We all sort of agree about the importance of every person being equal before the law, things like that. And I just was never seeing this reported. And I thought, this is such amazing news. Surely everybody wants to know that Americans are finally, for the first time in history, united around the values that this great nation was founded upon. And I could not sell that book. I mean, nobody would buy the book. They kept saying to me, editor after editor, there's no market for this. And finally, a very kind editor sat me down and said, look, you're telling me we're not that divided. This is news to me. I'm shocked by this. Why do I think we are if we're not? Why are all Americans so convinced that we're so polarized if you're saying that we're not? Why don't you write that book? So that's the book I wrote. I wrote a book about how the media has developed a contempt for the working class, and it is disguising and legitimizing that contempt with a moral panic around race that is much more related to class issues and to the fact that the media is part of the elite now than it is to race or even to politics. So that's my book, Bad News in a nutshell.
I'm talking to Batya Ungar-Sargon, who has written an amazing book. It's called Bad News, How Woke Media is Undermining Democracy. And it's funny because one of the things you talk about, and I think a lot of people don't realize is, originally, media, in particular the news media, wasn't meant for a certain class of people. It was meant for another class of people that were essentially, they thought, reading and talking above the other people.
That is exactly right. So the book starts actually in the 19th century at the dawn of American journalism, which was actually a populist movement. A bunch of guys showed up, Joseph Pulitzer most famously. He looked around. He saw that all of the poor and the working class in America were literate, but that all of the newspapers were being produced for the elites. And he thought, my God, there are so many poor and working class people. If I make a newspaper for them, I'm going to get rich. And that's exactly what he did. He himself was not educated. He hired only people from the milieu he was speaking to, working class people, and he got so rich. His newspaper was the number one newspaper in the world at the time, number one circulation, and the profession was a working class trade throughout much of the 20th century until the mid-century. In 1937, the elite journalists, the ones at the top of their game in Washington, 1937, less than half of them had a college degree, and a number of them hadn't even gone to high school, okay? fast forward to 2015, and you'll be shocked to learn that 92% of journalists today have a college degree. There's been a total status revolution in the profession, from working class trade that you picked up on the job from somebody who hadn't been educated. Today, it's like, in order to become a journalist, you have to go not just to college, but to the most elite colleges. You have to take unpaid internships in the most expensive American cities. So ask yourself, who can afford to live in New York City on an unpaid internship? Only the children of privilege, only the children of the rich. And that's who journalists are today.
Absolutely. And I don't think people understand. I mean, we have a lot of, we're in the station. I mean, we've got a lot of interns, and, none of them seem to be, starving for a meal, or many of them are living better than the actual journalists that are working at this point in time. So we flash forward to today. You went down, you're in the South, right? Like, New York Times, they were shocked. Trump won. They go, yeah, we got to hire somebody. Who are these people that live? Did you know there were people that live between New York and Los Angeles? And so here comes Bari Weiss, and she goes out there and she goes, you guys missed the point. But they didn't want to hear from her and what she had to report. Did you find a lot of that where, like you said, people were asking you, well, how can this be that we're not divided? Because I think it's a shock to a lot of people that we're not as divided as they would like to make us out to think.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The New York Times, when it would send out reporters to talk to Trump voters, every single time you open an article like that, at some point they call them racist. It's just the way that a liberal elite has justified sneering at people who have lost on every measure that they have won on. I mean, that's why I wrote that book. It's just like that sneering, that contempt. I just can't stand it anymore. It's so disgusting to have contempt for people who the economy is not working for, people who are downwardly mobile, while you're sitting there in this sort of meritocratic race that you're totally winning, and you're sneering down your nose. So the book opens with this scene at CNN where two CNN hosts who are worth millions and millions of dollars are sitting there saying everyone who voted for Trump is racist, right? Trump, who won the vast majority of Americans without a college degree, right? They're sitting there, these millionaires, sneering at the people who don't have a college degree. It's just so gross, and using race in order to do that. Now, I'll tell you a very funny story. One of the stories that I reported from the South, I reported because I read an account of it in the New York Times, and I thought, something is off here. Like, something was off. It was about a white man who's in a group called Sons of Confederate Veterans, whose best friend was a black man who was the deacon of a church. Okay, and they're telling the story, and of course casting this man as racist, the head of the Sons of Confederate Veterans, right? And the two men are sitting there on a church bench, and it's clear that they're best friends. I thought, I wonder what's going on. It was never explained. You know what I mean? I go down there, I meet them, and these guys are best friends. And the local chapter of Sons of Confederate Veterans in this neighborhood, they spend their weekends fixing up black churches. That's how these guys met. And if you say to them, wait, you guys are part of Sons of Confederate Veterans, like, why are you, fixing up black churches? They look at you very confused. They say, because we're a heritage society and this is our heritage. Like, in their mind, there's just no gap there, and they're very close with the black community where they live, right? It's just, you would never hear a story like that in the New York Times unless it was being misreported, right?
Absolutely. We're talking to Batya Ungar-Sargon, who's got a great new book out. It's called Bad News: How Woke Media is Undermining Democracy. She's also, a pretty damn good journalist, deputy opinion editor at Newsweek. But, let's flash forward to this past week. The Democrats had an agenda. The Republicans want to figure out how you fix people's problems, especially with inflation and everything. You had a lieutenant governor. You had two of the three statewide races that all three went to the Republicans. Two of them are people of color. And yet I sit here and all I hear is, well, they're just mouthpieces for white supremacy. Who buys that anymore?
It's so funny. To me, I look at Glenn Youngkin's victory, and I think that Glenn Youngkin, the reaction in the media to Glenn Youngkin's victory is the reason that he won, right? Like, the way that they responded, you see why he won. They responded by doing what they always do. Racist, 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 racist. Glenn Youngkin won by using dog whistles, right? Which is obviously not true at all. That the reason he won was because people are sick of being lectured to by a media elite that doesn't understand them. And it's so interesting because, Youngkin won for a number of reasons. I think you're absolutely right. The number one reason was inflation. People want to turn to state. They're turning against the Democrats who are in charge. They're unhappy with how Biden is ruling, especially on economics. That all of the surveys show that, economics was the economy was the number one reason that people were turning out to vote. The number two reason was schools, right? And so specifically critical race theory, right? Now, notice how the media, the liberal media, what they say to parents about critical race theory, they'll say to them like this. They'll say, you don't know what critical race theory is, and therefore when you say you are unhappy that it's in your schools, that's just a racist dog whistle because you don't know what it is. Have you seen them saying that? Essentially
all the
what
time.
They're saying is, right, they're saying, I, the highly educated journalists, do understand what critical race theory is, but you could never understand what it is. You wouldn't recognize it if you saw it. The only reason you know it exists is because Fox News has hypnotized you and bamboozled you. You see that move, that contempt? It's the same thing that they were doing you remember that book, What's the Matter with Kansas, from 2005, when they were saying, why is the white working class voting against its economic interests? Oh, because, and their answer was, instead of saying, because the Democrats had abandoned their economic interests too, because Bill Clinton sent all their jobs to China. Instead of saying that, they said, oh, it's because they've been bamboozled by conservative media, which is racist and race baiting, right? And it's, white grievance. You're always hearing about white grievance. What they don't tell you is that Glenn Youngkin won the majority of Hispanics. They don't tell you that Glenn Youngkin flipped a majority black district, that black parents are complaining about critical race theory in their schools. And it's true, yeah, maybe these parents can't define exactly what critical race theory is. That doesn't mean that they don't have a right to say, my children's lessons are bothering me. It's not going the way that it used to. I hear them talking about white supremacy. I hear them obsessing over the color of their skin. I don't like that. I wanted to go back to what it was. You know what I mean? They use their educational privilege to browbeat people, and then they use accusations of racism in order to silence them.
Talking to Batya Ungar-Sargon, deputy opinion editor at Newsweek, but an author, an awesome one at that. Bad News, How Woke Media is Undermining Democracy. All right, last question. I love having you on, and I hope to have you on again soon. The reality is it's a business. And I mean, you point out in this, again, the business side of it, and we're far more competitive than we ever were. Every human being now that has a phone at any given time may become a journalist in any way, shape, or form. And because of that, journalism isn't journalism anymore. It's as much reality TV because it's as much about grabbing people's attention as it is telling the truth. And that's a tough thing out there because you know this as better than I do, that many of these people are paid by clicks, by views, by shares, and you have to serve an audience. And that's a tough thing if you want to be fair and balanced, if you will. But the reality is you got to pick a lane sometimes.
Yeah, the worst part about this sort of model of media is that it's extremely profitable. So the New York Times is making money hand over fist by leaning into highly affluent, highly educated liberal elites and, sort of silencing everybody else and erasing everybody else and calling everybody who disagrees racist. It's very, very profitable. And so in the end of the book, I have some recommendations, but they're for individual Americans. I think, we Americans, we're too smart for this. Like we're better than this. And the fix to our terrible media is in a massive consumer boycott, which is already underway, by the way. Americans have very little trust in their media, and it's in finding shows like yours where you're getting your news from a uniter, not a divider, and a lot of that work happens in your own heart. So when you're online and you see some article in the New York Times or somewhere else that makes you really, really enraged, or you see an article by somebody who you disagree with and you feel that, like, it feels almost like road rage, right? You feel so angry, like, how could somebody on the internet think this? Every time you feel that rage, someone's making $1 million. Like, they've hacked our hearts to make us hate people we've never met, people who we have more in common with than we ever have in the history of the universe. the work of unlearning that, the work of remembering what it feels like to respect somebody you disagree with, it starts at home. It starts, in your own heart, in your own person, and in refusing to allow yourself to become, in refusing to allow them to co-opt your feelings about your fellow Americans. We have to always keep remembering the way that you do and the way you open that more unites us than divides us.
Absolutely. Batya Ungar-Sargon, I can't wait to have you on again, deputy editor, opinion editor at Newsweek. And the book, amazing. Bad News, How Woke Media is Undermining Democracy. You're out there and about. Buy the book. It's all over the place. You need to get an Audible version of it. I'm just throwing that out there. Get that thing done. And when you're hanging out with Bridget Fetsy, watch out. She's a good time.
Thank you so much for having me. What a pleasure and an honor. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. You have a good one.
You too.
323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet, text, great book right there. Check it out. We'll throw it up on the social media as well at Chad Benson Show. It's the Chad Benson Show.
You're listening to the best of Chad Benson.
You stink like fear and white male privilege to me.
I do often out myself verbally as a gender. My pronouns are they, them, and I'm proud to be a gender.
Are you stupid? Are you kidding me?
Not a great way to use your white privilege.
Some people get it, some people don't.
You're listening to the Chad Benson Show.
I just want you guys to understand this song turns 50. That makes you feel better.
It is one of the all-time great songs.
Yes, it is.
It takes the audience on a trip.
Really?
Through different emotions, different sounds. It builds up. It breaks down. It's just one of those songs that takes you on a journey, and you're with it the whole time.
That right there is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame VP of Education, Jason Handley. And he's talking about this song.
There's a lady who's sure all that glitters is gold, and she's buying the stairs.
It turns 50 years old today. Think about that. And it does. I mean, think about it. He was so right. It's like it ebbs, it flows, it rocks, it slows down. It has crescendos. It tells a story in ways that you just don't even, like, when you look at it now, do you have that? I think it's some songs, maybe, but we also have a much shorter attention span. I don't know how some of these songs today would play when we have 3-minute attention spans at best. When people are like, man, TikTok's too long. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Shows your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from you. My picks this weekend did not go well in football. At best, I'm going to finish 7-7. Worst 6-8. Talk about let me down. The Raiders, really? The Saints, the Buffalo Bills, to the Jaguars. The Bengals, that wasn't so bad. But the Cowboys, really? The Rams laid an egg last night. Steelers, Bears tonight. God willing, I'll finish 7-7. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Your Twitter, your Instagram, you Getter, all that other stuff. You guys have a blessed Monday. We got you through what could be one of the tougher days of the week, but you do it with a smile with us. Night-night, Jack.
You're listening to the best of Chad Benson.
This is the Chad Benson Show.
This is the best of Chad Benson.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Absolute terrifying nightmare. Going to a Christmas parade, ready to enjoy the time with your family, start to celebrate. It's been a tough couple years for so many people. Then lo and behold, out of nowhere, chaos.
According to officials, at least 5 people were killed and more than 40 others injured when a red SUV plowed into Waukesha, Wisconsin's Christmas parade. The speeding vehicle, seen on camera, barreling past crowds and marchers before slamming into a high school band and other groups. The horrifying moment caught on camera from a neighbor's balcony.
Now the question is, what the hell happened? 5 dead, dozens injured. I think we're up to 40 injured. NBC and several other outlets are now IDing the suspect, a wannabe rapper. Daryl Edwards Brooks, 39, goes by the alias Math Boy Fly. He was detained by the cops. He is, he's had some issues in the past, let's just say that. Officers swooped at an address in Milwaukee where the SUV was. Front of the vehicle was crumpled right up to the windscreen with his bumper and license plate hanging off. Brooks was detained there and reportedly complained of a sore shoulder, was taken into custody. First 3 letters of the license plate, ADP, and the vehicle's description the same reportedly heard on the police scanner. Once it broke through the barricade, you saw an officer do everything they could, shooting several rounds at it, trying to slow it down because he knew immediately that this was going to be chaos because this was not somebody just trying to get into their house. They zoom by. Math Boy Fly has several songs, apparently. One of his songs, X, has the lyrics, blank Donald Trump and blank the pigs. It's also gone after Barack Obama. Horrible situation. Now, the question is, why? Why did this take place? Remember, it's in Wisconsin.
The incident happening in Wisconsin happens just days after the verdict in the Kyle Rittenhouse case in nearby Kenosha. But again, authorities have not revealed any potential motive for this parade tragedy.
So you're telling me that the reason, first when they announced that, I was like, oh, so was Kyle Rittenhouse did this? No. Kyle Rittenhouse didn't do this. But could that have been a motive? It could have been. Was it? I don't know. Like everything, when these people twist off, doesn't matter who there is, doesn't matter what the color of their skin is. When some people twist off, it's because they're such miserable SOBs. They're such awful human beings. And the world to them has been cruel, so they're deciding to take their cruelty of what the world's done to them out on innocent victims, because that's the way they think they're going to seek revenge on the world. That's it. Could that have been this? Could have been. Could it been because Rittenhouse got away with something and they decide, oh, this is it. The only way to fight back is this way? It's possible, but I don't know. I don't know that. What I do know is he's a scumbag, whoever he is. They said they're looking for another suspect, potentially. But it's a horrible situation watching people die in front of you. You're there to enjoy yourself, watching people get run over. It's been a hell of a year. Not only has it been a hell of a year, the last several months in Wisconsin's been crazy at times. And over the last several weeks of what's going on there with the trial has been nuts. And then this takes place. Again, don't know what happened. On purpose, not on purpose. In the sense that I'm blaming it specifically on one thing. Or if it's just one of those, I'm picking this place because there's a bunch of people, I hate the world. Both are on purpose, but one is a specific thing. And the other one is, life's been crappy to me, so I'm going to get back at them. And so much of what you see when there's a mass shooting, what is it usually? It's people are pissed at the world, right? Girls won't date me. Life's been mean to me. And they take it out on everybody. And then every once in a while, there's a specific incident that triggers that final straw. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. All that being said, speaking of guns, craziness, and chaos, first of all, tons of people getting on airplanes.
The TSA says it screened 2.2 million passengers across the country on Friday, the highest numbers since early in 2020, with 7 in 10 Americans saying they plan to gather with friends and family they don't live with for Thanksgiving. Health officials are urging everyone who is eligible to get vaccinated.
Yeah, and I don't think a lot of people are going to run out and get vaccinated. I think at that point in time, you know who is or isn't, but the travel's going to be massive. Planes more than cars, even though there's still going to be a decent amount of people. I don't think people are going to travel as far this holiday season. But as the weekend began, you begin it in style. Atlanta, Hartsfield, the busiest airport in America. Hey, look, there's a felon with a gun.
Chaos breaking out at the busiest airport in the nation on the weekend ahead of the busiest travel period this Thanksgiving. Harrowing moments, passengers fleeing and ducking for cover following what airport officials called an accidental gun discharge at the main security checkpoint.
Investigators say it all began when 42-year-old Kenny Wells was moving through security when the gun, which was in the bag, was detected by an X-ray machine. The TSA says agents opened the bag and Wells lunged forward, grabbing the gun, causing it to discharge. He then took off running and now faces multiple charges.
Yeah, you think? And what happens when a gun goes off at an airport in this day and age of COVID anxiety, stress? The airport's already stressful, especially this time of year. People have been pent up for a long time. They're already frustrated because they're traveling and they got to wear a mask for the next God knows how long. And then a gun goes off.
We all kind of look at each other, and then all we hear is get down, and so we all start running.
My heart is still fluttering. I literally feel panic.
Why would you have your gun loaded in all safety at an airport? Where there's not only just there's children, there's people's families, brothers and sisters. Why would you do something like this?
Why would you do something like this? Because people are stupid. Have we not realized that? People are stupid. Selfish, idiotic, they're stupid. He brought a gun to the airport. Every once in a while, right? If you travel a lot, maybe you have a gun in your bag. It happens every once in a while. So you got a gun in your bag. Oh, my goodness. And then, everybody overreacts because we live in a time of complete overreaction at the airport. And the TSA pats themselves on the back, catching one of 25,000 guns that sneak through. And maybe once in a while. This was not that. Because he lunged for the gun because he knew. He's a felon with a gun, which usually spells long-term jail sentence. Do not envy anybody going anywhere. I'm excited. I've got to travel next weekend to take my brother and son home. But I just, we're trying to figure out when do we leave. And I'm one of these people, it's like, we're leaving super early Sunday morning. It'll still be dark out. I want to get home, rest, kind of scenario. But those people I see driving home sometimes in the middle of the day on a Sunday, oh, that stress. Ugh. Flying. When I talked to my on-air partner here locally, he flew to Athens. Spent 10 days there. He flew from Phoenix to London. It was an 8 or 10 hour flight, right? So he goes there, mask for an hour and a half in the airport, mask on the plane for 8 or 9 hours, mask in the airport for another 4 hours, another layover, then a flight that was 3 hours to Athens. And on the way back, it was a 22-hour flight, of which the mask is on the entire time. That alone should send people off. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Twitter, tweet at us. Car Shield gives you everything you need. Everything you need when it comes to protecting your car. Right? It's America's #1 auto protection company. for cover repairs. They've helped me with my electronics in car, from your engine to the transmission to the electronics in car. CarShield is a plan that's right for you and your budget. And CarShield cars go further and longer for a reason, because they take care of your wallet, your car, and yourself. And that's what it's all about. Car breaks down, CarShield takes care of everything. No hassles, no headaches. They'll take care of the expensive repairs. You pay a small deductible. You get to choose the shop it's going to be fixed at, which is fantastic. 24/7 roadside assistance, rental car for free while your car's in the shop, and trip reimbursement. Over 1 million drivers have trusted CarShield. Their car go further for a reason. Why not be one of them? Do what I did, and I have my family do, and everybody else. Find out the options that are right for you, the budget that fits your car, whether it's got 5,000 to 150,000 miles. Go to carshield.com/Benson to save 10% right there. Carshield.com/Benson. Carshield.com/Benson. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
You're listening to the best of Chad Benson.
Serving up talk radio medium rare and dripping with irony. It's Chad Benson.
That is us, kids. So the Delta variant out there, to boost or not to boost, I think a lot of people want to know, what should they do? What should they do? Well, if you've not done anything, I think a lot of people are waiting around trying to figure out, hey, do I just see, give it a little bit longer? Because it's funny, I've talked to people, I want to see it work a little bit longer. I want to see it work a little bit. I was like, well, what's the length that you want to let it go to? That's the question you need to ask people if you're worried about them getting a shot. I don't care if you get the shot. I'm pro-freedom. I think mandates are completely ridiculous. But we've got a rise in cases. That's the reality of it. And you got to take it as it comes. I've had friends who've been really sick, but not like they were going to die. I've had friends who didn't even know they had it. I had it, didn't know I had it. I thought I was tired. That was it. But I've had both my shots, and now they're saying it's time for you to go get a booster.
The CDC says you can get a COVID booster and a flu shot
simultaneously.
Don't wait, says ABC News medical contributor Dr. John Brownstein.
It still takes a couple days for antibodies to really start to produce
maximum protection in a couple of weeks.
We are seeing more and more breakthrough cases, which makes sense because this virus is circulating.
The doc says be careful, especially if with elderly family members or those that are vulnerable.
But, I think a lot of people are waiting to see what these two pills regimes would be like. So this regiment that's supposed to come out with Merck and the Pfizer would essentially, it's not for people who are really ill and already in the hospital. So like on a Monday you wake up, you got a sore throat, maybe you don't feel good. You go, you go take a test. Your doctor puts you on these pills for 5 days, and it reduces significantly the chance of you getting very ill and going to the hospital, especially if you're in pretty good shape. This is not for people who are already in the hospital and very sick. It's not for that. So then you got remdesivir, monoclonal antibodies, which are the best, but they're expensive, and more often than not, you have to go to the hospital to get them. So they're not quite as readily available comparatively to the other stuff that's out there. But people are frustrated. I have a lot of friends who went out and got it. A lot of people I know, people I work with, who got the shots right away. But now with the boosters coming out, they're not quite sure they're going to be as readily available in their own minds to go get the shot where they made time, right? So they went out, they made time, they made an effort. Where they got up early in the morning and went to a place to get a shot, or they it's like, okay, I'm going next week. I got to be at 2:15 at a stadium. Now, if it's convenient, yeah, maybe. If it's not convenient, then I'll wait till it's convenient.
We would hope, and this is something that we're looking at very carefully, that third shot with the mRNA not only boosts you way up, but increases the durability so that you will not necessarily need it every 6 months or a year. We're hoping it pushes it out more. If it doesn't, and the data show we do need it more often, then we'll do it.
Yeah. And there's the frustration. It's easy to have that open-ended, hopefully you don't have to get one for another year or so. But if you do, then we'll have to do it. I think people are looking for a little bit more assurance. When you start to have the thing that's been missing this entire time is a treatment for it, I think you're going to get that now with one or two of these pills, and I think that's going to change a lot of what's going to take place when it comes to how some of the people who are unvaccinated and even some people who are vaccinated feel about the stuff that's going on. As, you know what, maybe I'm not going to run out and get a booster because I know there's something else that's out there. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. We're going to be tightening our belts.
For the next 6 months, let's face it, we are all going to pay more for everything. Rent, food, gasoline. The next 6 months is belt tightening, and it's a difficult time of year for a lot of people who would like to enjoy the holidays with their families.
Absolutely. Everything's up, 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 up when it comes to anyone? Everything, especially turkey. Now, if money's not an object, may I suggest this?
Turkey prices are shooting up 14% this year. Would you believe a 25-pounder went for $329? These birds are a little smaller and sell for $200. It's the Rolls-Royce of turkeys.
It even comes with its own branded thermometer because they don't want you to overcook it.
Raised on a farm in Virginia and bred to be the most delicious you can eat. They're even hand-plucked.
This turkey is the nicest turkey that I've come across.
A little expensive, but you know what? You're having a bunch of people over, and your life's not so bad, and you got a few extra bucks. Would I? Bet that sandwich is going to be good. Because let's be real, as much as Thanksgiving is about that turkey that time, it's as much about that weekend eating those tasty leftovers. 323-538-2423. Chad Benson Show.
You're listening to the best of Chad Benson.
The Chad Benson Show.
This is the best of Chad Benson.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Inflation, number one concern amongst people right now. Pandemic high. Economic issues. 2008 wasn't even close what the number one thing was. 86% of people said the economy. Slowly but surely, it kind of went down. But since the pandemic started, this is the number one thing we're worried about. The economy, stupid. It's kind of always been that way. Government poor leadership, 21%. Up a few points in September. Coronavirus has dropped tremendously. Even as we're seeing rising cases, down to 13% from 21%. But people are worried about the high cost of everything. Inflation going up. It was 1% in September, inflation. High cost of living and inflation. It's now 7%. But then you've got to go and look at all of the scenarios when you put them together. When you look at the likes of the general economy, when you look at the likes of unemployment, and all of a sudden you look up and you're like, oh my goodness, what are we seeing? We're seeing the rising cost of everything. We're just joking about the turkey, but let's not think about all the other stuff that's going up and away, including that gas price.
AAA says gas prices have dropped a bit, but just a penny from last week, not going to help you that much. National average still at $3.41 a gallon. If you're planning to rent a car, average price per day has gone up 66% since last year alone. Most expensive markets, New York City, of course, $1.35 a day.
Yeah. Up and away. And when you see that, somebody asked me earlier, well, we're seeing people out shopping, and we're seeing people that are, waiting in line in certain places. Well, look, nobody's going to not shop. It's Christmas time. It's just the difference is your money's not going as far, right? The things that you wanted to buy, maybe you can't buy them. But last year you could have bought them, but you didn't. And now what you're doing is you're spending more but getting less. And again, the rising cost of it. Who does that hurt? If you make $300,000 a year, probably not feeling it. If you make 60, 70 grand between the two of you, prices go up. That hurts.
Inflation in itself is the worst tax you can put on low and middle income families across America because they got to buy a gallon of gas as much as anybody else.
That right there is New Hampshire governor. It's the new calling inflation the worst tax. It's true. So this weekend I traveled down to San Diego. I haven't been home in almost 2 years. Where I was born and raised, but to pick up Jack and so I drove down to San Diego. I planned it so I would fill up in Yuma. We could be all the way to San Diego and back without having to fill up. I did it. I paid $3.29 in Yuma for gas, and then $3.29 again when I got back. I would have paid $1.60 more in San Diego. Matters. People look around. These things matter to people. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson shows your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. And it matters that people start realizing, if you're the Democrats, how do you hold on to all of this stuff? How do you try to keep the House, the Senate, and the presidency knowing full well that even in decent times, the reality is we are a fickle bunch and we'll give at least one of the houses back. Because having one party with so much power, we're not a fan of. But with everything going the way it is right now, you're facing a crunch.
Democrats who 1 year from now will be licking their wounds and asking themselves how they could have lost the midterms so badly must instead ask themselves that question now, like while there's still time to do something about it. But I will tonight once again break out my coach hat and try to point the Democrats in the right direction. That's all I can do. I don't know what the you're talking about, and get away from me.
So what could they do? What could they do? Well, when you hear stuff like this.
But this in particular, the fact that white supremacists roam the halls of Congress freely and celebrate this little murderous white supremacist, and the fact that he gets to walk the streets freely.
You think to yourself, is that a winning message?
And this is what a lot of Democrats were told. Glenn Youngkin's win proves white ignorance is a powerful weapon. Racism still works in Virginia. It's not the messaging, folks. This country simply still loves white supremacy. Well, I haven't worked up an official Democratic campaign slogan for 2024 yet, but I tell you what I have ruled out is vote Democrat because white people suck.
Oh, what? No, you don't think so? Yeah. No. You have people go on and talk about somebody who was acquitted and still call him a white supremacist, still call him a murderer, hold up the others. One person I saw say, the people that he martyred, settle down with the people he martyred. Those people shouldn't have been there as much as he shouldn't have been there. You're out at night knowing full what's going to happen. Right? So you go. If I go to a place where I know there are sharks in the water and they're hungry and you jump in, you don't martyr me. You call me an idiot. But it's a perfect example of going out there and saying, hey, white supremacy. That's why they won. White supremacy. That's it. You're out of touch. Keep damning people. Keep talking. Even if people go, you know what, I believe a lot of what the Democrats have to say. But after 4 hours of watching television 3-4 days a week when you're just scanning by, right, and everything says that you're a white supremacist, you're a white. After a while, you're like, I'm not that way. But at this point in time, I can't stand you people. You guys are awful.
To a lot of folks in America, you come across as the cares about everybody but me party. You can give the people all the goodies Joe Manchin will allow, and it doesn't seem to buy their love. Why? Why is the party that supports so many issues that benefit the middle class still considered out of touch by 62% of Americans? In plain English, nobody likes a snob. Your microaggression culture doesn't play in the Rust Belt.
Absolutely. Remember something I've been saying for years. A Democrat in Berkeley, a Democrat in Los Angeles, a Democrat in Portland, Seattle, Chicago, Manhattan, New York, and Manhattan Beach is not the same Democrat in Birmingham, Alabama, in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, in Duluth. Remember that. And they don't. It's not hard. It's not. This woke, wild, weird ideology doesn't work. And it's going to cost you.
James Carville knew how to win. He blamed the Democratic losses this November 2nd on stupid wokeness, to which AOC fired back that wokeness is a term almost exclusively used by older people these days. What? This is a term folks like you brought out very recently and had been proudly displaying at every march since. But okay, fine. What word would you like us to use for the plainly insane excesses of the left that are not liberalism? Because you can't have that word liberal from us and think it should cover things like canceling Lincoln.
Yeah. Doesn't win. What do people care about? Everything else. Kids are healthy and happy. Opportunities for them, good schools, all of those things. And they're sick and tired, no matter what side of the aisle, be called racist 24/7. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson shows your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. MyPillow has an amazing opportunity for you to get a BOGO. Buy one, get one free. You buy a set of these sheets, Giza Dream Sheets, you get another set for free. From king all the way down. Absolutely incredible. Long staple cotton, grown in a small area of the Mediterranean. And I'm telling you guys, breathable. You're never going to sleep too hot or too cold. Best sheet you're ever going to own. Tons of colors, 6-day money-back guarantee. But they get deep discounts on everything, from the MyPillow itself to the mattress topper to the Giza Dream Sheets. So I said buy one, get one free. To the towels, to the mic slippers. I'm telling you, right now is a great time. No supply chain issues here. Get your BOGO, the buy one, get one free on your Giza Dream Sheets right now. Go to MyPillow.com. Use that promo code Benson. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. When you do, you'll save big. 6-day money-back guarantee. MyPillow.com. Use the promo code Benson to save big. BOGO, buy one, get one free. All right, coming up. Do it every year. It's our fun and frivolity that is the WKRP Turkey Drop episode. We love to leave you with this. And I'm telling you guys right now, it is one of the greatest episodes on TV of anything that has to do with comedy and with Thanksgiving. You're absolutely going to 100% love, love, love this. If you've never heard it, it is incredible. We're going to do that straight ahead. This here be the Chad Benson Show.
You're listening to the best of Chad Benson.
Don't let the Washington Beltway strangle you. This is where the exhausted majority comes to refuel, realign, and reevaluate. This is Chad Benson.
We do it every single year. We love doing it. It is the WKRP Turkey Drop. That's how we finish it. We're giving you some extra just love this year because we are so thankful, and I'm thankful to each and every one of you for paying attention to our little dog and pony show, and you guys have for years. It is one of the great episodes of modern television, and it is incredible. And if you've never seen the WKRP Turkey Drop, just watch the entire episode itself. Is amazing. But it is just, this show was, if you know anything about radio, by the way, like WKRP was as real as it gets for anything that you will find in the actual world of radio. Having worked in radio most of my adult life, Lottie Anderson, Jane Smithers, Howard Hessman, Frank Bonner, Gary Sandy, Tim Reed, Gordon Jump, all made up a cast of characters that really were incredible. And, of course, the great Les Nessman, played by Richard Sanders. But it's an amazing show, and it's so much about what radio is. Crazy. And I'm so thankful to be in a position that I'm in with the people that I work with Anthony and Radio America out here at KTR in Phoenix, and Phil, who's been with me since day one. It's just blessed. But this show, when I got into radio, I fell in love because of WKRP, and just, I did voices as kids and, as a kid, and I just loved the medium that is radio. And I'm like, I wonder if radio is really that crazy. I'm like, 7, 8 years old. Radio is really that crazy. Some fun facts about one of the greatest episodes in TV. It originally aired just before Halloween. By the way, for a long time, a good chunk of the episode had been cut out. If you get a DVD of it, Turkey's Away, they've replaced music and questions, simple cut out tons of scenes. They've replaced that. It's based on a true story. WQXI, WKRP. So WQXI station in Atlanta. The creator, Hugh Wilson, had worked in advertising in Atlanta, had several friends at a radio station. After WKRP got the green light from CBS, they went back to Atlanta, hung out at the station, observed a bunch of stuff, and one such tale was a failed turkey giveaway at the station attempted at the Atlanta Shopping Center, which birds were tossed from the back of trucks. The episode was written by WKRP's engineer, but not really. Bill Dial, a writer and story editor, is credited with writing the episode. Dial also makes 2 appearances as Bucky, the engineer. The last line isn't the only hilarious one in the episode. As God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly. And you'll hear that in a second. The shop kicker who rudely shoos Les Nessman away from his storefront was the writing partner of Richard Sanders, who plays Les. They wrote a ton of these things, and turkeys actually can fly. Wild turkeys, that is, not these ones. But you guys have been amazing. I love doing the show. I've been blessed with my team. Radio America, like I said, Anthony and Phil and everybody. You guys have an amazing Thanksgiving. And as we do every single year, sit back, relax, and enjoy one of the great turkey episodes and Thanksgiving episodes in the history of all television. The WKRP Turkey Drop. Have a good Thanksgiving.
All right, fellow babies, and now it's time to go to our live remote man on the scene at the Pinedale Shopping Mall for the big WKRP turkey giveaway. So, take it away, Les Nessman.
This is Les Nessman, your man on the scene here at the Pinedale Shopping Center, where the excitement is mounting. We're here to witness the big WKRP turkey Thanksgiving giveaway.
Hey, you got permission to be out here?
What?
You're blocking my store here, buddy.
Don't you know who I am?
Huh?
I'm Les Nessman. I won the Buckeye News Hawk Award last year.
Good for you, Buckeye. Now get out of my doorway.
I'm sorry. Creep.
So far, so good, huh?
I'm here with hundreds of people who have gathered to witness what has been described as perhaps the greatest turkey event in Thanksgiving Day history. All we know for sure is that in a very few moments there are going to be a lot of happy people out here. Now the crowd is curious but well behaved. And I think I hear something now. The crowd is moving out into the parking area. And oh yes, I can see it now. It's a helicopter, and it's coming this way.
A helicopter?
It's flying something behind it. I can't quite make it out. It's a large banner, and it says, Happy Thanksgiving from WKRP. What a sight, ladies and gentlemen, what a sight. The copter seems to be circling the parking area now. I guess it's looking for a place to land. No, something just came out of the back of the helicopter. It's a dark object. Perhaps a skydiver plummeting to the earth from only 2,000 feet into the air. Second and a third. There's no parachutes yet. Those can't be skydivers. I can't tell just yet what they are, but... Oh, my God, they're turkeys! Oh, Johnny, can you get this? Oh, they're crashing to the earth right in front of our eyes! One just went through the windshield of a parked car! Johnny, this is terrible. The cars running around, pushing each other? Oh, my goodness! Oh, the humanity! Oh, people are running about. The turkeys are hitting the ground like sacks of wet cement. See, folks, I don't know how much longer the crowd is running for their lives. I think I'm going to step inside. I can't stay out here and watch this any longer. No, I can't go in there. Children are searching for their mothers, and not since the Hindenburg tragedy has there been anything like this. I don't know how much longer I can hold my position here, Johnny. The crowd...
Les, are you there? Les isn't there. Thanks for that on-the-spot report, Les. For those of you who just tuned in, the Pinedale Shopping Mall has just been bombed with live turkey. Film at 11.
As God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly.
This is the Chad Benson Show.